How's it going, meatheads? We are back with you for another video to pump up your day with some motorcycle content, and I found this cool mural here in the little town of Canton, and I mean, photo opportunity if I do say so myself. Today we're going to actually talk about the S&S 475 Camchest kit that has been in this bike now for 1,000 miles. I want to do a quick little review. There's really nothing going to be negative about it, to be honest, because I mean, this thing runs like a clock and it's been nothing but amazing for the past 1,000 miles. But let's get a hot engine start for you guys so you can hear this cam lope at idle. Exactly how a Harley should sound, guys. That's what I think. So I'm not exactly at 1,000 miles on the bike with the Camchest upgrade, but to give you guys a quick little rundown, it is an S&S 475 chain drive cam. It's got the S&S cam plate oil pump. I have Fuel Moto's push rods, their push rod kit. Also have the S&S tappet cuffs to replace the Harley plastic ones, as well as the high precision, high performance, whatever they're called, lifters. And then this bike was also tuned on a dyno with a Power Vision. I've had a couple questions how I tuned it. It was tuned on a dyno with a Power Vision. We made 106 horsepower to the rear wheel, as well as 119 foot-pounds of torque. Another road glide getting at it. So let's get into it. And with that power that I was giving you the peak numbers, but the overall power of this bike throughout the entire rev range is really the largest change other than just peak numbers, because peak is peak. I mean, it's just the most power it will make. But basically this cam really just balanced out the power. I have power up in the upper RPMs, where if you look at a Harley stock cam and tune and all that, you can see that it kind of comes up and it just kind of levels out real quick, and the torque starts high and then it tapers downward in the upper RPMs. So realistically, you're short shifting your bike to stay in the power band. Whereas with this 475 cam and tune, I can run it out to my higher RPMs without any issues. And with that increase in power, the responsiveness in my throttle hand, or in the throttle itself, is so much more sensitive. It's so snappy. Like, I'll give you guys a quick little, okay, so rubberneck real quick. That's 6th gear, not even in the power band. So if I go a little bit higher up, it's just ready to go and pull you to infinity. Yeah. And quick roll on out in 5th. Like, it's beautiful. Another great thing that I've really admired about this cam is that, like, obviously the biggest change has been sound, and the sound of the cam at idle is just intoxicating, but it actually screams far louder and far more clear at the higher RPMs. I mean, you guys can hear it. With the whole Camchest upgrade, I was really wanting to avoid any oiling issues, especially with this bigger cam and the better tune that pushes out just more power, and it's also using up more fuel. It generates more heat. Like, I wanted to make sure that my oil system was good, and I have no complaints with S&S's oil pump and cam plate. I feel like everything is just running amazingly. What are you doing? I think the biggest things that I want you guys to know as consumers that are considering this cam is it's not going to be strictly torque. I didn't gain, I probably lost a few foot-pounds of torque on the bottom end, and it's maybe partially or majority of the way to do with my exhaust choice. Yeah, this cam is not meant for torque, it's meant for a balanced power, so you're going to get simply just more up top horsepower, and you can stay linear for longer is basically what the goal of this cam is. It's not meant to get you this earth-shattering and twisting power down at the bottom end. It's meant to basically take your torque and raise it up a little bit overall, but then give you just more upper RPMs as you rev out your motor and get... You are like texting. Wow, look at this guy. I'm sorry guys, I'm losing my train of thought here. I was like, I don't know what this guy is doing up here, but he's gonna get into an accident if he doesn't stop. So another thing that I really do like about this cam is that it's actually really rideable, with the fact that you're not getting a lot of immense torque off the bottom end. You actually have a much easier time feathering the clutch out and not like destroying your clutch plates in the process. So for me, the pickup is nice. It's very rideable even in city areas, you know, going between stop and go traffic and picking up and then stopping and picking up and stopping. Like, it's actually very rideable, despite it sounding like it's a big old muscle car, you know, chopping there at idle. It's actually relatively easy. I do have to blip the throttle a little bit before I start because it is chopping so much. And if you catch it at the wrong time, it feels like you got nothing. But if you blip the throttle a little bit, you have no problem getting up to speed and getting going. Deuces. Overall, this Camchest has made the bike actually run a bit cooler. You'll see on a lot of cam plates and oil pumps that they advertise fueling S&S, they talk about the actual like degrees, like they run 15 to 20 degrees cooler engine temperatures. I'm not really sure how accurate that is, but I do think that this bike does run a bit cooler. I get less oil coming up through my breathers. It's definitely pushing out a lot more oil more reliably. As you guys can see right there. But overall, like, this cam has done really, really well in the first 1,000 miles. I'm excited to see how things go as far as the more miles I put on it. The more I've ridden this bike with this cam, the better it's run too. I think it also has partially to do that it has gotten warmer out. This cam is not very fun when it's really cold out because it's such a big old lift on that thing that it's a little rough starting up when it's cooler out, like 40s, 50s. No, it's got to be 40 degrees. Most of the time if I start in like the 40 degrees, it's a little rough. It burns a little oil on the startup when it's cooler out, but when it's like today, it started up just fine. It didn't burn any oil off of this startup. It started up nice and clean, no real issues. There's still torque down there in the bottom end, so if you guys are like, oop, there's some rocks. If you guys are like, oh, I don't really want to sacrifice torque too much, it's not going to kill you. You're still going to have plenty of torque in the lower RPMs that'll get you up and going, as you guys can see. I think if I was to name a negative part of this upgrade, it's got to be price. And realistically, there's a lot more expensive upgrades out there though, so like, I'm really nitpicking this part of the review where the cost is, because basically I shot myself in the foot with this upgrade that I did, because I didn't buy S&S's 475 Camchest upgrade kit, which is like a little over $1,000. What I did was I bought the cam push rods, gaskets, inner bearing, lifters, and tappet cuffs, all from Fuel Moto a little over a year ago. November of 2019 I bought it. And what I did was I wasn't sure how my run out was gonna be, so I didn't want to buy that Camchest kit as a whole and then find out I can't use my Camchest, or use the oil pump in the cam plate, which would be its a whole other nightmare, you know. But basically I said to Clay at Barely Legal Bikes, if I can talk, when I took it to him, I asked him, can you check the run out, make sure it's good, and if it is, give me a call, and I want to order a cam plate and oil pump. And so once he called me back, he said I had only 3 thousandths of run out, which is really awesome for a 23,000 mile motor, especially when you hear such negative things about the M8s and run out on the crank. And so basically I had to pay a little bit extra, like I paid 600 bucks for the cam plate and the oil pump. So that makes it, with parts alone, it's about $900. Or no, it's more than that. It's like $1,100. So maybe within the realm of the price of the S&S kit. And then I paid $800 for the installation and the tune. Back to what I was saying. So he tuned it with a Power Vision, and so in the end it cost me like about $2,000, because it was like $1,453 after the install and the tune and all that, plus the $500 that I spent for the cam itself and all that. So like little under $2,000, which in reality is not too bad, considering that, like, when you want to do like a big bore kit, there's all kinds of extra things that you need to buy, not just the cylinders and the pistons and the rings and all that. Like, you also got to consider that you're gonna probably need to upgrade your clutch system and your compensator and stuff. So realistically, it's been a great $2,000 spent. And I've only got 1,000 miles out of it. So like, once I get some more miles on it, it just makes every penny spent on it that much more worthwhile. Has no trouble pulling uphill either with my big ass on the back. Yeah. So overall, guys, to sum it up into as few words as possible, the S&S 475 chain drive cam, S&S cam plate, oil pump, and all the other goodies that go inside the Camchest, how would I rate it? If I had more than 2 thumbs, I'd be putting them up, because for $2,000 that it cost me to do all this, it's a completely different bike. It runs so much harder, runs cooler. I'm still getting over 40 miles to the gallon while riding 2 up. Like, you can't ask for more than that. Oh yeah, it's a bug. Oh, that's so cool. You are considering trying to get more power out of your Milwaukee 8, try doing a cam first. Like, you will be surprised at how much better your bike will run with a cam, instead of going all the way to like a 131 or a 124. But this is where I'm going to sign off, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was informative for you. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Ride safe, guys.